I used to think that success would fix everything for me. Whether it was that promotion I was going for, the house, the stable income, checking off all the boxes that, people said, get these things and that's, you have a happy life. But the more that I achieved, the emptier that I felt inside. I found myself kind of reflecting and thinking to myself, like, is this really it? And for years, I thought that feeling meant there was something wrong, like I was ungrateful, there was something broken. Maybe I just need to go chase some bigger goal or earn more money, get that next promotion, go for that next big thing that's out there. But what I now know is that what I was experiencing, and a lot of people who watch these videos experience, it's not any sort of a character flaw. The data, the research out there, it refers to it as, psychologists refer to it as like the success depression, where you start to get this emptiness that happens when the achievements that you're having on the outside, that they don't align with your core values or your natural gifts and strengths that you have. And so today, we're going to talk about why achieving that goal can feel like failure, and what to do when when your wins are making you feel like maybe more lost than ever. You don't know where to go. Oftentimes people refer to things like imposter syndrome, and I love the topic of imposter syndrome. So think about it this way, there's the success imposter syndrome that comes in as a part of that. And I want to unpack that a lot with you today. Now, of course, let me just say welcome to the Giver Method channel. My name is Jake, and I'm so glad that you're able to join me. I want to frame up today's video with a couple questions now that kind of align with what I was just describing that I experienced myself. So maybe you're like me. Maybe have you ever hit a milestone that you were working on? You were working on it for years, and it could have been a promotion or an income goal, some sort of family achievement. And instead of a celebration, you felt at the end you felt flat and empty, like you were applauding for someone else's success or life. Or maybe you built what looks like success on paper. Oh my gosh, I've been there. That stable job, the nice home, recognition from others. But privately, you're wondering why doesn't it feel like I'm winning like other people? Or maybe you find yourself thinking, gosh, I should be grateful for all this. Others would kill for what I have. What's wrong with me for wanting more? If any of that hits close to home for you, well, let me just let you know, you are not alone in those feelings. It has anything to do with being ungrateful. It has nothing to do with being selfish. You might just be dealing with this success imposter syndrome that's out there, where the victories you've achieved feel like they belong to someone else, because they don't reflect who you really are. Now, there is the case of imposter syndrome, man, I've stepped into something new and I'm feeling this is a little different view of imposter syndrome. Now, I've got all sorts of videos where we talk about it from the just stepping into the new, bigger version of you and being man, I don't feel like I belong here. But this is more focused towards stepping into a place that maybe doesn't feel like you in the first place. Maybe you're a parent who's created that stable life for your family that you always wanted, but you feel invisible in your own story. Maybe you're an entrepreneur who built a business that others are going to admire, but you feel trapped in your own achievements. Or maybe you're the employee who climbed the corporate ladder only to discover that, man, it was leaning against the wrong wall all along. And so what I've discovered is that achievement, there's this deflation that happens. And it isn't a sign that you need a bigger goal. It's a signal that your success has become maybe misaligned with your authentic self. And so I want to unpack that more with you today. Like I said, my name is Jake Talbert. I'm the founder. I'm the author of this book. It's called The Giver Method. Came out last November. Since coming out, it has sold thousands of copies, become an Amazon bestseller. I highly recommend that if you are looking to discover your gifts and superpowers, create more impact, influence, and value for the people in your lives, and through every engagement you have, create deeper, more meaningful relationships, once again, create that impact, live a more fulfilled life, all those sorts of things, then I highly recommend you go get it. I'll put a link in the description where you can go get it on Amazon. Right now, you can get it for as little as $2, which is absolutely amazing. So you can pause the video, go to Amazon, look up The Giver Method by Jake Talbert, or use the link in the description. I highly recommend you get it. It's the best money you could invest in yourself this year. Now, what people love about it, why it has so many sales and great 5-star reviews, is the fact that it's grounded in two things. Number one, my story, where I've walked a similar path as you. I am a parent. I've got 3 kids. I'm an entrepreneur. And I've been in that corporate maze, in a big organization, feeling like another cog in the wheel. And so everything that I cover comes from that lens. So it's from a lens similar to a path that you walk down. And then all the exercises, action items, they're meant for people like you because they're grounded in who I am. So it's things that you don't have to do. You don't have to burn everything down. You don't have to go move to the woods, to a cabin to go find yourself or anything like that to discover who you really are. It's no, you can just get yourself a book and go through it and chapter by chapter work your way through that. Once again, I recommend you go get it. Link is in the description. Should be one of the first links in there. I spent years, like I mentioned, in that corporate cubicle checking if you want to talk about checking off the boxes, climbing the ladders that led to nothing meaningful. I thought emptiness meant I wasn't grateful enough, like that I wasn't working hard enough, like wasn't achieving enough. But it turns out like when your wins don't reflect your gifts and your values, like they become hollow victories, they drain your energy instead of restoring it. And so the focus of today's video, like we're diving into that, like success, like how do we get success realignment? And so we're going to cover these like 6 principles that help busy parents and entrepreneurs and employees break free from the hollow victories and start creating achievements that actually energize you. And what's crazy is that there's all sorts of data out there. There's all sorts of research that shows that people who align their achievements with their natural gifts and core values, they experience 89% higher satisfaction in life and 76% like stronger, more improved relationship quality. But like most people are just stuck chasing somebody else, like someone else's definition of success, and that changes like today. So as we walk through these principles, like these are ones that are helping all sorts of people just like you, like move from an external scorecard to that internal alignment and creating success that sustains you, that doesn't drain your energy. And no, like this isn't about blowing up your life, abandoning any sort of responsibilities. It's about recognizing like your own disconnect, that dissatisfaction with like those hollow victories. It's not ingratitude, like it's intelligence pointing you towards maybe a deeper purpose to go find. Everything we cover, like I said, it's mentioned, it's covered in the GIVER method, because when you align your achievements with your authentic gifts, you stop performing for like this external validation. You start creating real impact that, that is the most energizing version of you and most authentic version of you. So once again, if you want to dive deeper into it, you can go grab a copy of the GIVER method on Amazon. You can use the link down below. You can go to thegivermethod.com, find out more details about how we help people, some of our free resources, join the newsletter, stuff like that. Of course, you could go find us on all the social medias, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, under the handle of the GIVER method. And of course, if you're ready for like personal support, we did open up a couple of one-on-one coaching spots, some 8-week programs that you can go take a look at. There's a link in the description. It's, I think, thegivermethod.com/coaching or something like that, but it's in the description. Check it out. We can help walk you through that one-on-one. And of course, if you run a team, host a podcast, an event, have some sort of platform that people gather, and you think this message would serve them, then I'd love to talk to you about how we could bring it to them in a very real, useful, and life-giving way. So there's links down below about speaking and podcasting. Of course, please hit subscribe, tap that bell for notifications, like the video, drop a comment for what lands for you. Now with that, let's jump in. Let's start like really transforming these hollow victories into achievements that actually reflect who you are. And so we're going to start with our first principle, which is like, I refer to it as the energy check-in. I talk a lot about this in videos. I think this is one of the most important principles that people could go do. Like this is how to tell if a win is fueling or draining you. Now, the question we like almost never ask ourselves is like, how do I feel like a couple days after that big achievement? Not the moment when like people are congratulating you or you're having that celebration dinner, but maybe like 48 hours or 72 hours later when the noise dies down. Do you feel energized and ready to move? Or do you feel flat and drained and maybe a little empty? And so that's where doing some sort of an energy check-in would be really valuable. It's one of the quickest ways to spot whether success, like the success you have, is aligned, or just maybe a hollow success. Real wins, they're not a sugar rush, like a quick thing. They restore energy and make you feel alive, and they're going to build so much more momentum for what's next. Any sort of a hollow victory is going to feel heavy. Like you just ran a marathon in someone else's shoes. I've done 6 marathons. I would never want to run them in somebody else's shoes. That would be terrible. So here's what I want you to do. For the next month, anytime you hit some sort of a win, no matter the scale, big or small, rate how you feel like a couple days after. Scale of 1 to 10, how did you feel? Did it light you up? Well, give it an 8 to a 10. Did it leave you like, meh? Then like give it a 5 to 7. Did it totally drain you? Well, then give it a 1 to a 4. Don't judge it, just track it. And then start noticing any patterns that you see. You'll probably start to see some wins that energize you, like tap into natural gifts or align with your values, your purpose. The ones that are draining you, are usually demanding skills that, hey, yeah, you're capable of, but you don't actually enjoy doing them. They're about meeting someone else's expectations instead of your own. And then here's the next thing that you could do that starts to shift. Before you take a new goal, pause and ask, based on my past patterns, is this likely to fuel me or drain me? And that question could help change the things that you choose to go after. What's worth chasing? Your energy is one of the most honest feedback systems you have. It's why I cover it in so many videos. Wins fuel you. You're rebuilding the sustainable satisfaction within you, the kind of success that stacks on itself instead of demanding bigger and bigger achievements to fill the void. And more importantly, you can't give your best to your family or your business or your work when you're consistently running on empty. But when you start aligning with your goals and with the things that energize you, you don't just feel better, you show up better for everything and everyone else that actually matters to you. Now that leads us to the second principle. Now, what I want you to think about this one is like, the idea is like, check if the wins match like what you value. You know, it's about identifying any success that contradicts those core beliefs you have, because we want to like stop collecting success that is at the cost of what matters most to us, right? Because if you ever notice how exhausting it is to celebrate a win that secretly cost you something really important. Maybe you got the promotion, but it meant missing dinner with your kids. You hit that income goal, but but your work feels meaningless. Like inside, like, man, you're clapping with one hand, but like you're quietly mourning with the other. And so that's where you've got this value disconnect. You know, and when your achievements look shiny, but chip away at the very thing that makes life feel worth like living, like that's what that is. And here's the real kicker. It usually, like, it doesn't happen overnight. It sneaks in. You know, you take a temporary job because it pays well. You say yes to the project to prove you're reliable, but like it doesn't light you up at all. You trade your authenticity for like efficiency just to keep the machine running. And the one day, like you realize your success story doesn't sound like you anymore. And so we have to flip that a little bit, got to change it. So start by getting clear on like your top 5 values, like not ones that you think you should have. Don't like think of like, well, I think people should have this one. You know, don't think of that like there's things like, oh, it's hard work, responsibility. Like, no, what are the things that actually matter to you? Is it creativity? Is it growth? Is it family connection, meaningful impact? Like you could use all sorts of tools, resources, things out there to help yourself find what these are. Gosh, there's so many things out there. Like, because when you discover these, like these become your compass. Write them down, turn to them constantly and look at them. Next, grab like your last 5 big wins. You know, could be a work project, financial milestone, something at home, whatever. And then map them against your values. You know, which ones honored them? Which ones forced you to maybe compromise a little bit? And be brutally honest. Like that promotion that, you know, might have honored you as like the provider, like, but like absolutely crushed, you know, you having a balanced life value. Like, well, I've got my provider value covered, but my balance in life like is absolutely crushed. Like, you know, gosh, that may not be it. You know, the solo project might have honored excellence but killed your collaboration. Like, got to look for how they weigh out with each other, and then look for patterns. You know, do you keep trading the same value over and over, or are these moments where multiple values lit up at once? You know, that's why those achievements felt so good. And then here's a big move. Like, you start making decisions through like this values first filter before that new opportunity. Like, how will this win? Like, if I win this goal, how does it honor my values? Like, you know, and what might it force me to sacrifice along the way? If you make that part of your decision-making process, like, that's not something that you're not going to have that fatigue afterwards. You're protecting yourself, you know, from building a life that looks good on paper, but like is empty on the inside. Because living in a constant like opposites and contradiction with your values creates like this exhaustion that none of us want. Like, you can't fix it with a nap or a vacation. You know, the people, the different data research, whatever, like specialists out there, they'll refer to this as like there's a moral injury, like, you know, it's soul depleting, you know. But when these wins line up with your values, like celebration stops feeling forced, like the guilt about wanting more goes away, and suddenly that energy like you were spending on inner conflict gets freed up to create the kind of impact that you actually want to go make in the world. And that leads us to the third thing, the third principle, like wins that actually feel like yours. Gosh, why some success feels like you're in the flow and others feel like you're in a grind? Because not all wins, they're not all created equal. Some light you up, some make you feel almost like they're almost effortless to do. Others leave you like energized and even when it was tough. But then when you look at others, like, man, on paper, like they should be good, but they feel like you're dragging yourself through every step. And that's the difference between, you know, success that's built on your natural gifts versus like success that's built on skills that you picked up to survive or meet expectations. You know, and so I love the idea, and something, you know, the G in GIVER stands for gifts, your gifts and your superpowers. So that's why I love the idea of gift mapping. You know, it explains why, you know, 2 people can hit the same milestone but walk away feeling completely different. One gets promoted because their natural ability, you know, leads and shines through. The other gets promoted because like they've mastered playing the game. They check the right boxes. Both hit the goal, but only one feels like they're actually winning at the game. And so here's the thing, like the world often rewards like competency over authenticity. You're praised for being reliable, so you like double down on that, even if like your real strength is creativity, or you get recognized for being analytical, so you build that skill set, even though like your natural gift might be connecting with people. And after a while, you get like successful at doing things that secretly are just like draining you away. While the things that actually make you come alive sit on the sidelines. And so here's what I want you to do. I want to start by spotting these natural gifts, these things that just come so natural to you. Think about like what's always been come so easy to you before you even had to train it. Maybe it's solving problems, maybe it's spotting patterns, maybe it's organizing chaos or calming people down, maybe it's bringing ideas to life. Whatever. Ask yourself, like, what do people constantly come to me for? That's going to be a clue. Look at your biggest wins from maybe the past year and ask, like, was this powered by one of my natural gifts or skills? Or was it something I just developed to get by? And once again, no shame in either way. It's just about noticing the difference, paying attention to how like each made you feel. Gift aligned wins often feel like you're going to be in some sort of a flow state. Time disappears, energy rises, people notice how natural you are at it. Competency based wins often feel like you're grinding through the mud, heavy effort, low resistance, or lots of resistance, and like relief more than joy when it's over. And then when new opportunities come your way, start doing like your gift first filtering as well. So like we look at it through our purpose, our values, these gifts. Like, hey, will this let me use my gifts? Or is this another spot that I'm just going to push through with skills that drain me? Again, that's going to help you make some really good decisions on what things to take on and what things not to. Success that flows from your gifts isn't just more fun, it's just sustainable. It keeps you more engaged. You're way more likely to be engaged, way more likely to love the life that you're living. Beyond any sort of details like that, like the real magic is when your wins come from your gifts, you finally stop feeling like an imposter in your own life. Deep down, like, this is me and no one else can copy or invalidate that, like, because it is truly yours. Now it takes us to the fourth principle, which is you've got to build your own scorecard. Stop playing by the rules that were never meant to be yours. And this is a hard truth for a lot of people to take. Most of us have been like keeping score with somebody else's rules. The promotions, the salaries, the likes on social media, the house size, the kids' accomplishments, all just like society's scoreboard that's out there. It tells us how well you're playing the game, not whether you're actually winning at your life. And the problem, like those external scorecards, they were never built for you. They don't know your values. They don't know your gifts. They don't know what makes you feel alive. That's why you hit milestones. You smile for the photo. You still go home with that nagging emptiness inside of you. You're succeeding, but their rules, like by the rules they've created, but failing by your own direction and compass. That's where like creating your own scorecard changes everything. It doesn't mean like ignoring the outside recognition. It means that you're measuring success in ways that reflect who you are and what actually matters to you. When the scorecard matches your like true authentic self and your achievements, like, gosh, things start fueling you instead of draining you. You finally get to play and win your own game. And so here's what I want you to do. The first thing, like, I want you to stop and ask yourself, like, if no one else is watching, what would success look like to me? Don't answer with like what you've been told. Get honest. Maybe it's making someone else's day better. Maybe it's being present with your kids. Maybe it's building something beautiful or solving problems that matter. Like whatever it is, write it down. And then you're going to look for you're going to start creating these internal success indicators. And you want to think of them as like, these are my personal stat sheet. If you had your own a trading card with stats on the back, like what would there be on? Like, how energized do I feel at the end of the day? How often am I using my natural gifts? Did I stay present with the people that I love? Did my work line up with my values? Did I go to bed feeling like today actually mattered? And of course, you could always, along the line, set up these weekly check-ins. Like, doesn't have to be anything fancy. Just rate yourself like on your indicators, like on a scale of 1 to 10. Maybe even that's a yellow, a red, yellow, green, or whatever. Like, it's just a quick gut check. Like, what matters most is the consistency of the scorecard. How well am I doing at maintaining those things? And of course, the kicker is like when external wins clash with your internal measures, honor your scorecard first. Like in the world that applauds something that left you feeling drained, you can acknowledge it. Don't confuse applause for alignment. And on the flip side, like if it looked boring to others, but like, man, you were fully present and fulfilled and energized, like take the win. For extra support, like share your scorecard with a trusted friend, your spouse, partner, whatever, like not for validation, but for accountability. Sometimes having someone who can reflect back like on these authentic measures helps you stay anchored like when the outside noise gets louder. That external validation, it's like junk food, right? It feels good for a minute, but it never fills you up. The real nourishment comes when you know what like winning means to you. Tons of data and studies out there show like the people who measure success internally deal with way less anxiety. They bounce back faster from setbacks. But like beyond any of that, like the real payoff is they stop running races that were never meant, like you never signed up for, right? You stop feeling like you're behind. Instead, you start stacking achievements that feel like an extension of who you are. That's when success becomes energizing, not just for you, but for like the people who get to experience the real you showing up fully. And that takes us to the fifth principle. It's like, okay, we talked about hollow victories when you start flipping the script on them. You know, how do you turn that like that didn't feel like I thought it would into fuel for what's next? A lot of people think that if they like admit their past achievements didn't fulfill them, it means like the whole thing was like a waste. Like the promotion was pointless, the business milestone didn't matter, the family stability like that you worked so hard for doesn't count. Like, but that's not true. Every win, even the ones that like make you feel flat along the way, like none of them are wasted. Like they're teaching you something. It's showing you on like what you value and what drains you and what lights you up, you know, what you don't want to repeat. The problem isn't the achievement itself. It's like what you do with it afterwards, you know? And so that's why like, how do I reframe this to make my meaning more impactful? You know, it's about like mining your past wisdom instead of like creating some sort of regret, because those hollow victories, they're not dead ends, they're data points. And so you could pick some wins you've had from the past, you know, that really looked shiny on the outside, but maybe left you feeling empty. Don't beat yourself up. Just look at them with curiosity and ask yourself a couple of questions. You know, what did it teach me about my values? Maybe money was great, but like you realize purpose matters more than prestige. Like, you know, ask yourself like, what did this reveal about my gifts? Maybe you crushed the project because like your system skills, but you notice it actually, you know, you come alive when you're leading people, not maintaining the spreadsheets. And the third question to ask is like, what clarity did this give me for the future? Maybe you learn to, you trade status for flexibility, or you'd rather create than manage along the way. And then comes like the real big shift for you. Like there's like the actual wisdom extraction from that. Like write down how each of those lessons can guide you in your next move. That draining promotion, it taught you to maybe ask better questions before chasing that next title. You know, that success, a successful but empty business milestone, like it showed you what you value and like you're never willing to sacrifice again. Like find the wisdom in there and pull it out so you can see it. And here's where the gold comes in. Like, start using those lessons and filter them with your new opportunities. We can't change your past. You might see a running theme here. There's nothing about your past I can change. It's what's made you who you are. It's actually what's made you so uniquely able to create the impact that you can moving forward. And so it just matters as we look at the new opportunities that we put them through new filters. Something feels like deja vu from the past, like a hollow win. Pause and ask, like, well, what needs to be different this time? If somebody reminds you of a time where you felt alive and aligned, like, cool, how do I double down on that? How do I really lean into that? Because regret keeps you stuck, but meaning moves you forward. People who make meaning out of hard or disappointing experiences, like they develop more resilience and long-term satisfaction than the people who just try to bury the past. And honestly, like your so-called like those missteps, they're not detours. They're part of the map. They clarified who you are, they what you want, and like what you will no longer compromise for. When you start to reframe, those hollow victories in that sort of way, you stop carrying them as maybe a failure or baggage, and you use them for fuel for what's next. That shift alone makes you feel like someone who can actually trust your journey, because every step was one that, even if it felt off, it was still shaping what was coming next. And of course, the sixth and final principle, like designing wins that actually feel like winning. So success that feeds you instead of drains you. It's not enough to know just why your old wins felt hollow. The real magic is building new ones that actually light you up. And so you design the wins that feel like you're winning. Because like, what's the point of success if you don't enjoy it along the way? Most people chase goals backwards. They see like what's out there, the jobs, the promotions, the milestones, and ask like, can I achieve this? But the better question would be like, would achieving this even feel good for me? Like, why? Like, this is where like things will start to shift. Instead of building the life for someone else's definition of success, like you start with you, like your natural gifts, your core values, the legacy you want to leave. Man, that's your foundation. From there, every win you create will feel different. It's not draining, it's energizing. And so here's what I want you to try out. Start by painting a picture of authentic success for you. You know, if nothing was off limits, what would winning look like for you? How would your days feel? You know, who would you be serving or impacting? What energy would you still have left, left over for your family, for your health, for your passions? Like, write those things down. Do not edit them. Just give the most honest version of that you can. And then start to find your alignment bridges. Don't think like, man, I have to go quit my job. I have to blow my life up tomorrow to make this thing work. Like, look for what are the small shifts that bring your current reality closer to that vision. It might be taking on a project that uses your creativity. It might be carving out time for something that matters for you, or saying no to the one thing that's been draining you like crazy. And of course, the next time opportunities are coming, once again, here's this filter. Would this let me my real strengths shine, or would it force me to play the role that's not me? Use those filters. The reason why I've covered them so many times in this video is they're so important. Now here's the big kicker. You measure success on your terms. Not the titles, money, not the applause. Just ask yourself, does it energize me? Am I using my gifts? Does it align with my values? Does it move me closer to the legacy I want to leave, the person I'm trying to be? The answer is yes, then there is a win there, even if nobody else claps for that thing. Because when your goals line up with who you are, you don't need to keep chasing bigger and bigger, proof of success to anybody. Your wins fuel you instead of draining you. People whose goals match their really authentic selves show up 3 times more motivated. They leave more satisfied with their progress. But here's what I've seen firsthand. When someone starts designing their success the way that they want it to, they stop feeling like an imposter in their own life. They start carrying themselves with that quiet confidence of hey, this is me, and I know exactly who I am and who I'm supposed to be and where I'm going. And maybe the best part is when you live like that, you give everyone else around you permission to do the same. And so what I want you to hear, what I want you to walk away with is that empty feeling after hitting a sort of goal. There's no flaws here. There's no ungratefulness. And it's definitely not proof that you need to maybe hustle harder or collect bigger trophies as a part of that. Your authentic self is just trying to nudge you awake and say, hey, you've been climbing the wrong mountain. And so the things that we covered today, 6 principles that we walked through today, they're not just hacks for achievements to feel better. It's a roadmap for realignment. When you track the wins that actually give you energy, you start to see your personal definition of success. When you map your victories against your values, you're gonna notice exactly where life feels on track and where you've been maybe drifting. And when you check in with your gifts against those accomplishments, man, you finally understand why some wins feel so effortless and others make you feel like they're sucking the life out of you. You build your own scorecard, you reframe these past lessons and learn from them, and you design the future goals of where you want to go. Man, everything's going to start shifting. Your achievements, they fuel you instead of draining you. You stop feeling like an imposter in your own success life. Because let's be real, success without alignment, and it's just fancy suffering. But success that flows from your gifts, honors those values, and builds the kind of legacy that you're actually proud of, it's not just an achievement, it is fulfillment and it is freedom. The world doesn't need you chasing someone else's definition of success while quietly burning out on the inside. It needs you fully alive, building wins that reflect who you are. Because when you do that, you don't just change your life, you give everyone around you the permission to stop settling for the same type of hollow victories and create authentic ones. I always tell people that, you're the only person who can make as great of an impact as you. Because you're the only person who has your unique gifts, superpowers, combination of experiences, struggles, lessons you've learned. So you are the only person who's designed to create the impact that you can, and the world's waiting for it. As long as you start living authentically within that, not chasing what someone else needs, someone else thinks you should be. And so if today's message, if it hits home for you, if it's something that you resonated with you, then that's 100% why you'd want to go get yourself a copy of the GIVER method. It's going to cover everything. It's on Amazon. You can just check it out at thegivermethod.com or go to Amazon, use the link in the description. You're going to find the tools to support, bringing your gifts into the world in ways that really feel like you can achieve them. They're sustainable, they're aligned, they're real. If you want some personal support, maybe, you're done pretending like life looks amazing while secretly feeling stuck. I've opened up a few of these one-on-one coaching spots, the link is down below. If it's time for you to start building on your own achievements that matter to you, check it out. Check out the coaching link. And of course, if you have a team, podcast, mastermind, community, event, whatever, and you think this message or a message like the ones we cover would serve them, let's talk about what we could do that will bring real change and spark real, impact in their lives. And hey, before you go, drop a comment. What's your biggest takeaway? I love hearing what lands for you. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications so you do not miss out on the future videos we put out. Remember that your gifts, they're meant to shine through your achievements, not get buried underneath them. Your success should give you life, not take it away. The wins that you're waiting for, like the real ones, like are the ones that finally feel like yours when they're grounded in authentically who you are. So stop chasing these hollow victories and start building the kind of success that actually matters to you. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and I'll catch you in the next video. Have a great rest of your day.